What is up, YouTube? GTV here. Race number 3 on tap right now. That is the Miller High Life 400 lap race here for the 87 Cup cars at Richmond. It's going to be an interesting race here today. Lots of good cars in the field as always. Looking at practice here, going to let it go for just a little bit longer. Currently, Dale Earnhardt leads over Benny Parsons, Jeff Bodine, Kyle Petty, and Buddy Baker's your top 5. Not too far into practice. Not going to let it run out all that long here. Richmond is an interesting track from a production standpoint. Very interesting camera angles that iRacing has. Like we've seen the last couple weeks, like Rockingham and etc. We can pretty much get one good camera angle and almost watch from basically on top of the tower. Kind of difficult to get that here at Richmond, so it's going to be a little bit of a different broadcast kind of look, but still going to be the same great on-track product and a good show for you. Try to make it the best we can. So looking forward to it. Definitely going to be a challenge from my end, but definitely going to be a interesting day here. So, Bill Elliott now top of the leaderboard, and we are going to go ahead advance to qualifying. And when it does, we'll take a look at Earnhardt. So far, the camera, for anyone that knows iRacing that's watching this, so far the best camera I've kind of found is I like the far chase or far chase and rear chase. It's kind of like a drone here following the car, but it kind of gives us a good way to follow them all the way around track. So last week's winner, and as we've kind of notated, we're going to do each week, we're going to follow along with last week's winner during qualifying. So Dale Earnhardt on the clock. It's into turn 1 on the brakes there. Roll back into it here, down the back stretch. Brakes in turn 3. Comes Earnhardt to complete the first lap. Earnhardt's second on the leaderboard. Bill Elliott's going to be quick time at this moment. Down the back stretch again, Earnhardt. Turns 3 and 4. At the line. Second lap is better. Earnhardt's going to take the pole. Bill Elliott answers. Benny Parsons answers. Shuffle Earnhardt back. P4. Neil Bonnet now up to third. There you see it in the top right corner. Bill Elliott, Benny Parsons, Neil Bonnet, Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, your top 5. Bobby Allison, Steve Wallace, Buddy Baker, Morgan Shepherd, and Davey Allison round out your top 10. As we should be ready here, just a few moments to start gridding for the 400 lap event here today. So again, it's Bill Elliott on the pole. Benny Parsons makes up P2. Neil Bonnet, Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Bobby Allison, Rusty Wallace hiding behind there. Buddy Baker, Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison rounds out your top 10. 11th, Yarborough. 12th, Bodine, Lake Speed, Kyle Petty, Ken Schrader, Dave Marcus, Richard Petty, Alan Kwiecki, Terry Labonte, and Harry Gant rounds out top 20. Phil Parsons, Bobby Helen Jr., Michael Waltrip, Donnie Allison, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, Rick Wilson, Ron Bouchard, Greg Sachs, Derek Cope, Jimmy Beans, J.D. McDuffie, Brett Bodine, Jim Sauter, Jody Ridley, Buddy Arrington, Ronnie Thomas, Steve Chrisman, Rodney Combs, excuse me, Chet Phillip, Mark Stahl, Connie Saylor. The fan favorite makes up the last place position there. We will get them set to start rolling. Looks like most of the field, the 54 there. Donnie Allison's paint scheme not loading here today. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. Elliott, Benny Parsons. Hear the field start to throttle up, pack in there tight. Bill Elliott, Benny Parsons, your front row. Neil Bonnet, Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Bobby Allison, Rusty Wallace, Buddy Baker, Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison lead us to green. Elliott pulling out to the early advantage here. Off into turn one. Bonnet and Parsons side by side. Waltrip, Earnhardt side by side. Races down the backstretch. Earnhardt there to the outside, the 75, and Neil Bonnet inside of him. Races for third. Side by side here in the turn one. Earnhardt on the outside, Bonnet on the inside. Earnhardt there still to the outside of Bonnet. A little wiggle there. Earnhardt's going to get shuffled back. Schrader and Kowicki battle. That's for 15th. Allison and Earnhardt continue battle. Give it to Earnhardt now. P4. Bonnet up to third. Parsons P2. Bill Elliott now pulling out to about a half a second lead over Benny Parsons. Coors number 9. Hart trying to work the outside of the 22 of Bobby Allison. Hasn't been able to clear him yet. Allison's now is going to dip to the inside. Darrell Waltrip going to make a move. Waltrip to the outside. That's the 22 there of Bobby Allison. And Allison do battle. Meanwhile, Earnhardt and Bonnet continue. Earnhardt looking to take over the third position from Bonnet. Side by side here out of turn 4. Earnhardt up P3. Here comes Darrell Waltrip though behind him. So far it's been all Bill Elliott by half a second there over Benny Parsons as they head down the back stretch. Davey Allison, Bobby Allison doing battle there. That's your battle for 6th. Working lap 6 currently. Gil Yarborough, Kyle Petty battling for the 12th and 13th spot. Darrell Waltrip, Neil Bonnet continue to battle 4th and 5th. Earnhardt pulled ahead of them by about 4/10. He's going to start trying to reel down 2nd place Benny Parsons in the Folgers car. Parsons going to start trying to reel down Bill Elliott. Bobby Allison, Jeff Bodine continue to do battle. That's for 7th and 8th. Just coming out of 2 down the back stretch. Allison to the inside, the 75 there of Bonnet. Going to work on Davey Allison, 5th. Allison working the inside. Darrell Waltrip now up to 4th. Waltrip there with Earnhardt. Earnhardt P3. backstretch. Earnhardt there. Waltrip behind him. Coming out of turn 4. There goes Waltrip. Bill Elliott, Benny Parsons, though, catching him, not too far behind. Just clicked off about another 10th for Parsons. Parsons going to try to catch Elliott. About 4/10 now between them. Earnhardt back there behind them. Pretty solid through the top 25 there. Schrader and Kawicki there side by side. Kawicki's going to get shuffled to the outside. Petty there behind them. Harry Gant there. There comes Kawicki back charging to the outside. Petty below him. Elliott continues to lead over Benny Parsons. 3/10 of a second now is the gap. Working on lap 13, coming to 14. Earnhardt, Waltrip, Allison, and Allison. Bobby Allison under pressure there from Jeff Bodine for 6th. Buddy Baker, Rusty Wallace doing battle here. Neil Bonnet, Morgan Shepherd. Race there off of 4. Elliott now continues to lead, but Parsons is on his bumper. Down the backstretch into turn 3. Parsons less than a 10th. Knocking on the door of Elliott. Side by side here through 1 and 2. Parsons on the outside. Elliott on the inside. Elliott has led a lap, so he's got the 5 bonus points. Here comes Parsons. He's wanting the bonus points. 5 bonus points to lead a lap, another 5 to lead the most laps. In addition to all the points for position. At the line, Benny Parsons. There's the official ticker in the upper right-hand corner. Parsons going to lead that lap. Watching the cars down the backstretch. Morgan Shepherd, Neil Bonnet battling. Battle for 9th. 8th. You're into turn 1. Down the back straightaway. Give it to Shepherd into 3. Shepherd there on the outside, Bonnet on the inside. Rusty Wallace back there, he's got pressure from Buddy Baker in the 88. Like speed there, working on the outside of Kyle Petty. Watch them go in turn 1 there. As Benny Parsons continues to lead over Bill Elliott. Not much moving and shaking elsewhere. Just Buddy Baker on back here, a gaggle of cars. Shepherd, Bonnet, Baker, Wallace, Lake Speed, Kyle Petty, Yarborough is in there. Harry Gant, Schrader, Kawicki, Petty. Battle's been at the front of that. Morgan Shepherd, Neil Bonnet. Working lap 20. Parsons continues to lead here. Back stretch and into turn 3. Baker, Neil Bonnet still continue to battle. That's for 9th. Corbin Shepard right in front of them. Rusty Wallace, Lake Speed still side by side doing battle. They head into turn 1. Leader Benny Parsons now. Starting to enter turn 3. Lap traffic not too much further ahead for Parsons. Parsons and Elliott there. Down the back straightaway. Baker, Neil Bonnet continue to do battle for 10th there. Lake Speed behind them. Looks like I finally got a good camera angle to work with here, so we're going to try to roll with this. Again, this track is tricky. Still trying to give you the best show we can get here as Harry Gant, Rusty Wallace do battle. Wallace there to the inside, Gant to the outside through turn 3 and 4. Taking a look at your leader, Benny Parsons, still leading over Bill Elliott. Earnhardt, Waltrip, Allison, and Allison. Bobby still under pressure from Jeff Bodine. So there we finally see the lap traffic ahead of your leader. With the 82 there of Mark Stahl. 6 of the fan favorite Connie Saylor. Your leader Benny Parsons. Parsons going to start peeking to the outside there. The 82 of Mark Stahl. Disposes of Mark Stahl very easily. Clear heading into turn 1. Be working on the Croker 6 of the fan favorite Connie Saylor. Parsons leads by about almost 8/10 over Elliott. Almost 2.5 seconds back to Waltrip. Davey Allison there. Earnhardt's in trouble. He's falling back to 5th. Earnhardt there to the inside. Allison to the outside. Give Pete forward to Earnhardt. Allison, Davey Allison wanting to charge to the front though. Neck and neck down the back straightaway and into turn 3. Earl Waltrip right ahead of them. He's kind of out by himself. Earnhardt there on the outside, or on the inside. Allison now 4 at the line. Benny Parsons going to be working on the 81 there. That's Chet Phillip. Benny Parsons dives in inside. Chet Phillip goes high and wide, lets the leader by. In turn 1 there for your leader. There's Parsons. Through turn 2 down the backstretch. Kind of shaking there, not sure what that is. AI trying to figure out which way to go, worked by the 62 Steve Crispin. Field heads into turn 1 here. Parsons there. Bill Elliott behind him, working on the 81 Chet Phillip. Earnhardt tucks into 5th. 2/10 of a second away from Davey Allison. It's Darrell Waltrip there is going to have to work on the 6 of Connie Saylor. So head into turn 1. Waltrip, Allison, and Earnhardt. 82 of Mark Stahl, the 6 of Connie Saylor. The field going to have to negotiate around. Harry Gant, Neil Bonnet back here doing battle. So they head into turn 3. Gant on the outside, Bonnet on the inside, Wallace, Yarborough. There's 26 of Shepard. Buddy Baker, Jeff Bodine doing battle for 7th. Benny Parsons continues to lead over Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott not been able to get around Steve Crispin quite yet. Benny Parson be working on the 67 at Arrington and the 41 there of Ronnie Thomas. Folgers 35 looking to the outside. 31 there, Jim Sauter as the 67 of Buddy Arrington going to let the leader by. Lap traffic has been very nice here today compared to last week at Rockingham. Parsons continues to lead there. Not much going on behind him. Third, fourth, fifth, negotiating their way around traffic. Buddy Baker now is going to move up to 6, get around Bobby Allison and Jeff Bodine. Bobby and Jeff Bodine had been battling there. Lake Speed now 9th, looking to get in on the action. Still a bunch of cars about 6th through 12th, and I'd say 6th through 15th, so about a 9-car battle there. Rusty Wallace going to get to the inside of Morgan Shepherd. That's your race for 12th. Kodiak car to the inside of the Quaker State 26. Watch this battle here. Lake Speed there to the outside. 22. Bobby Allison looking to the inside. Jeff Bodine right in front of them. Buddy Baker. They're trying to reel down Earnhardt. Haven't been successful with that yet. Earnhardt to the inside of Chet Phillips. Got his sight back on 17 of Waltrip, making P4. Now 2-second lead for Benny Parsons over Bill Elliott. 2.2 seconds is the gap. Fastest lap by the leader has been a 22.7, currently turning 25 threes. So almost nearing the 3-second mark of fall off, almost 2.5 seconds slower already here. Fastest lap does belong though to your race leader, Benny Parsons. Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvin back here making some noise. So we will look at Duffy here right in front of your leader, McDuffie in 35th. That's currently the last car on the lead lap. Benny Parsons going to get the run underneath him. McDuffie's going to let the leaders by. Not much moving throughout the field at this time. Working 40 in the books, 10% of the race is complete. Drivers trying to save some tires, manage their cars and equipment. Back to Benny Parsons, who leads turn 1. 2.4 seconds, now 2.3 seconds is the gap between first and second. Starting to get into the long run here, a lot of settling out, not much noise going on. There's 54 at Donnie Allison and Rick Wilson battling. That's for 24th and 25th, not too far ahead of your race leader, Benny Parsons. As the track's starting to go through a transition here, some cloud cover. As Elliott works around the 31 of Sauter. Rusty Wallace, Harry Gant. That gaggle of cars continues to battle back here. Rick Wilson gets by Ron Bouchard, 26. The last handful of cars on the lead lap. Bouchard there on the outside, Wilson on the inside. They'll continue to do battle. Shepherd, Harry Gant going to get by Yarborough. Ooh, Yarborough holds on to it. There's contact there at the 26. Shepherd had a 3-wide, almost 4-wide situation there. 29 to 26. This is all around the 10th through about 15th place. Shepard trying to figure out a way to get by the 81 of Chet Phillip. We're going to go 3 wide here off of 2. Lake Speed's going to slow down and drop to the inside. Gary Gant, Morgan Shepard, Lake Speed. That goes up all the way to Kyle Petty. There's Bobby Allison. Levi Garrett 5. Jeff Bodine does battle with Neil Bonnet for 8th and 9th. Daytona 500 winner Rusty Wallace right ahead of them. There's Buddy Baker now moving into 6th. He's got his sights set on 5th place. Dale Earnhardt, Waltrip, Allison about 4 seconds off the lead, it looks like. About a second and a half away from 2nd place Bill Elliott. Elliott P2, 2.8 seconds away from your race leader, Benny Parsons. Parsons there to Bill Elliott. Earnhardt, Waltrip there. 31 of Sauter. Buddy Baker there, 6th. Wallace, Bonnet, they've started to kind of get a breakaway. Here comes a swarm. Bodine, Allison, Petty, Yarborough. Gary Gant not too far behind them. Lake Speed puts some distance between him. There's Morgan Shepard, 62. Steve Chrisman, the 81. Chet Phillip. Field heads into turn 1. Bill Elliott still not been able to reel in your leader, Benny Parsons. Parsons out of 4. 51 now in the books. So currently an 8th of the way home, about a half hour into the race. So we should be clicking off about 100 laps in an hour. Little under. See if cautions will ever come into play here as the first, what I would call the first short track of the season. Parsons leads. As next week, the next event we will do will be a 500 miler at Atlanta. Motorcraft Quality Parts 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coming up next, 500-mile race. 328 laps on the books for that event. And the series will head to Darlington. Then we'll make our way for the Darlington for the Trans-South 500 before then heading to North Wilkesboro for the First Union 400. That is one I cannot wait for. An old school track like Wilkesboro with the old classic NASCAR is going to be a good one. So there goes Bill Elliott into turn 2, or into turn 3, excuse me, and then to turn 4 here. Still looking to catch Parsons. Parsons now catching the 50. Greg Sachs there, 31st. Currently the last car on lead lap. Greg Sachs and Jarrett looks like they're the 19 Derek Cope, 15 Ricky Rudd, all in front of your race leader. Parsons there. Have to start to dispose of them. Still has plenty of lead. Maintained the lead. Hasn't grown, but hasn't definitely shrunk. Over Bill Elliott. Earnhardt there, solidly running in the top 5. Started P2, fell back a couple positions. Just logging laps here at this point for the number 3. Rusty Wallace in 7th. This group of cars has started to kind of separate themselves. Bonnet, Allison Bodine, Buddy Arrington there in the 67. Harry Gant working inside of Yarborough, Morgan Shepherd there. A little bit of space to Lake Speed. Yarborough is going to get shuffled to the outside. Gant that almost got interesting. They head into turn 1, Lake Speed now. Caught back up to him. Here comes Kyle Petty. That battle is going to be 11th through 15th. Buddy Arrington in the 67, kind of giving your leader some grief here. Meanwhile, Bobby Allison working on Neil Bonnet for 8th. Rusty Wallace right in front of them, at 31 of Sauter, 70 of McDuffie. And lap 60 as Parsons getting reeled in by Bill Elliott now. Bill Elliott only 1.7 seconds away. Parsons, there's Elliott. Elliott's got some clear track, but not a car or two between him and Parsons. Parsons there to the outside. That's 18 of Dale Jarrett. Jarrett going to go a lap down. Currently P29. First car a lap down. Right ahead of the leader there. The next car to go a lap down will be Ricky Rudd. There is the one of Bodine right behind Earnhardt. 32nd a lap down. Move back to Darrell Waltrip right ahead of them. Davey Allison. Bill Elliott P2, 1.6 seconds off the leader, Benny Parsons. Parsons now down the backstretch, going to start closing in on the 15 of Rudd. Motorcraft number 15. Working lap 64. Darrell Waltrip now getting under pressure from Earnhardt. Earnhardt 2/10 back off of Waltrip. See those brake rotors glowing there. Let's try to see if we can get any type of look. Let's go to Earnhardt. Earnhardt there, Waltrip right in front of him. Let's go on board with Earnhardt. 2/10 is the gap, 1.5 tenths at this time. Earnhardt's going to have to find a way around Waltrip. Battle here for 4th. On board with Earnhardt, now on board with Waltrip. Waltrip's eyeing Davey Allison, but looking in the rear view, trying to hold off Earnhardt, the Intimidator. Wrangler 3 Chevrolet. Earnhardt's getting closer and closer. Gonna have to get a nose under Waltrip here. Make a move for 4th. Nothing new at this time. Parsons' lead has grown back to 2.1 seconds over Elliott. Elliott now. Good bit of gap back to Davey Allison as we watch the battle still for 4th between Waltrip and Earnhardt, 4th and 5th. It's been bumper to bumper. Earnhardt not been able to show Waltrip the nose here yet. Off into turn 1. Still bumper to bumper, less than a tenth. Separates 4th and 5th. Bobby Allison, Jeff Bodine, they're doing battle back there for 8th. Allison on the inside of Bodine. Yarborough right behind him, the 75 up on it. Go back to the battle for fourth. They're catching third place Davey Allison. Third, fourth, fifth soon turn into a dogfight. 69 nice laps complete, working lap 70 here. It's been a very nice race so far. 69 nice solid laps without any issues completed. Now 70 laps in the books. Earnhardt's finally got the nose there under Waltrip. Side by side here through 1 and 2. Earnhardt to the inside, Waltrip to the outside. Waltrip almost had the 3-car cleared. Earnhardt's going to drive it in side by side, nose to nose. Coming to the line. At the line. Give it to Earnhardt in fourth. Live timing scoring still shows Waltrip to be the active leader. Waltrip now going to put about a car length between him and Earnhardt. That battle is going to settle here. They are still catching Davey Allison, though, in third. Bill Elliott's clicked about a half a second back off the lead, sitting about 1.7 seconds off of Parsons. Parsons catching the 4 there, the Kodak car of Rick Wilson. Not too far behind, though. So Elliott's going to get by Ricky Rudd here at the line. Rudd in the 15 car, 28th lap down. Rick Wilson, the last car now on lead lap. Right ahead of Rick is Donnie Allison, a paint scheme not loading here today. 26th and 27th place, right in front of your leader. Back and look at Bill Elliott there in second. Davey Allison looking to the outside of the 19 Derek Cope. Earnhardt, Waltrip there, all third, fourth, and fifth, all in the same frame. Earnhardt by Derek Cope. Carson continues to lead over Bill Elliott. Davey Allison, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Buddy Baker, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison rounds out the top 2. Looking there at Waltrip. Waltrip in fourth, caught third place Davey Allison. Allison caught behind the 50 there of Greg Sachs. Earnhardt in the catbird seat, going to see the battle for third right ahead of Waltrip now looking to the outside. Allison going to dip to the bottom. Waltrip hung up behind the 50. Greg Sachs, here comes Earnhardt. Third, fourth, fifth. Battle for position through lap traffic. Waltrip almost made it a 3-wide situation there. Third, fourth, fifth, bumper to bumper to bumper. Waltrip gets by the 50 of Sachs. Earnhardt going to look to the inside. Door to door almost. Sachs going to pull away a little bit. Earnhardt's going to look to the inside. Earnhardt just going to get by the 50 Valvoline car. So now third, fourth, fifth all do battle here. Be Waltrip, though, putting the pressure on Allison. Here goes Waltrip. This race is for third. Allison was third last lap. Here at the line, it's going to be Waltrip P3. You see your leaderboard top 10 shuffles up in your upper right-hand corner. They are neck and neck. There's Earnhardt watching behind. Keep an eye here on pit stops. Not too sure what the pit lap sequence is here in terms of lap numbers, so have to keep an eye on that. Parsons, we see Bill Elliott there in the same frame. Elliott now within about half a second, but there's lap cars in between. Parsons with Elliott behind him. Darrell Waltrip, Allison, Earnhardt well behind. Some 4 to 5 seconds back. 4 seconds back for Waltrip. Allison, Earnhardt 5 seconds off the lead. Bill Elliott, Benny Parsons. Elliott is now going to have some clean real estate ahead of him in the 9. See Parsons there exiting your screen left just a second ago. There's Bill Elliott. So we will go to the blimp cam. Watch this battle for the lead. Cloudy here, almost getting hazy. Track temperature at about 120. There's Parsons. Bill Elliott right there. 1.1 seconds is the gap. Elliott was within about half a second. Parsons starting to pull away. Approaching a quarter of the way home here already. Working lap 87 now. There is Benny Parsons. There's Bill Elliott. Not a whole lot of space. Elliott's got clean track to Parsons. Parsons is soon going to be catching a gaggle of lap traffic. 56, 41. Of Rick Mast, 41 Ronnie Thomas, 56 Ernie Irvin. That's going to start to open a little bit of a door for Elliott. It's David Allison, Buddy 9. Gaggle of cars back here through lap traffic. Rusty Wallace in 7th, Bobby Allison, Buddy Baker, Jim Dine, Yarborough, Schrader, Bonnet, Shepard, Gant, Petty, that group of about 6 through 15, about 9 cars, all continuing to race there together. Bill Elliott now back within half a second of your leader. The 41, Ronnie Thomas, is all that's between Bill and Parsons. Elliott led early. Parsons has led a good chunk ever since. Those have been the only leaders here so far. Earnhardt is going to get by Waltrip. Those two caught behind a pair of lap traffic, excuse me. Cars there. Waltrip to the inside, Earnhardt to the outside. Going to have to get by the 15 of Rudd and the 18 of Jarrett to try to catch back up to the 28 of Davey Allison. Bill Elliott now on the strike, less than 0.2 of a second. On the back bumper, Benny Parsons, don't look in the rear view mirror because you've got company. Dawsonville from Dawsonville. And that Ford running down the 35 Folger Chevrolet. Bill Elliott to the inside, right behind the 4 of Rick Wilson. Here are your leaders heading into turn 1. Parsons going to go high. Bill Elliott looking towards the middle. A good racing groove there. Nice black rubber strip. Wants a groove down low. Track 2, maybe 3 lanes wide. Not to the outside fence by any means, but a good racing surface. Here's your leaders here as they approach the 55 of Bill Parsons, a 56 Ernie Irvin, and I want to say the 47 of Bouchard. Elliott now still maintaining his pressure on Parsons. 2/10 is the gap. Para Parsons battle. Benny's going to continue to lead. Bill going to go a lap down as Bill Elliott trying to run back down the race lead. Still 2/10 of a second is the gap. Race leader Benny Parsons caught behind the 56 Ernie Irvin, 47 Ron Bouchard on the inside now. Ooh, there's the race move. Parsons went high and wide, got out of the groove. That's going to allow Elliott to squeak by. Elliott now going to have to look to the inside of Bouchard. The Hawaiian Punch back bumper sponsored 47. Don't look and give up now though. 35 of Benny Parsons back down in the rubber. Want to try to make some more noise back on Bill Elliott. Parsons holds his own, working the outside of Elliott. Elliott's going to be able to drop the nose, going 3 wide. They're going to force Bouchard up out of the rubber. As that almost got ugly, but Benny Parsons through the middle. To get back by the 9 Elliott. Forces Bouchard way up out of the groove. Bouchard holds on to her though. Give Benny Parsons the lead. Good little show here for the race leaders. Still about 3.5 seconds ahead. Third place Davey Allison. Michael Waltrip there to the inside, the 67. Buddy Arrington, Ernie Irvin there in the 56. It's not over between Benny Parsons and Bill Elliott by any means. Parsons now pulling back, about to have a second lead over Elliott. Elliott now about a second behind Benny Parsons. Parsons now out to a 1.3 second lead over Bill Elliott there. Elliott kind of caught a trap. Rick Mast to the outside, or Rick Wilson, excuse me. 30 of Waltrip. There's the other Parsons. Phil right behind Elliott. 67 of Arrington. Elliott has not been able to get through traffic as cleanly as Benny Parsons has. As we are now down to 20 cars on the lead lap and haven't even had pit stops yet. Dave Marcus there in the 71. He's the last car on the lead lap. Good little bit ahead of Benny Parsons. The 11 of Terry Labonte went a lap down. Bouchard, Ernie Irvin, Mike Waltrip. As the other Waltrip, Darrell, has fallen back a little bit. It's going to allow Dale Earnhardt, as we were watching the battle for the lead, Dale Earnhardt moved up to 4th. He's about half a second behind Davey Allison. So Earnhardt going to be racing now to get back on the podium here. Bill, ooh, 67 got loose there. There might have been some contact. Let's go to Buddy Arrington. See if we can get a replay. There it is. There's the wiggle. Bill Elliott got him kind of jacked up there on corner entry, or corner exit rather. We go back live. There's Elliott there in second. Parsons out by his lonesome. Be working next car coming up should be 26th place, 25th place. Excuse me. Dave Marcus, 20th place. I knew that. I just said that. Dave Marcus, 20th place, will be the next car to go a lap down. But there's the 31 of Jim Sauter, 36, one lap down. Parsons going to have to dispose of. Elliott's got the 4 of Rick Wilson, the 30 of Michael Waltrip. Andy Parsons is by the 31 of Sauter. 107 in the books. So over a quarter of the way home so far. Not even an hour into the recording from what I can see. So making good time. My guess is we'll be in about the 3 hour and 45 minute approximation time per race. Had no cautions last week at Rockingham. We'll see if anything happens here today. My prediction is we might see some craziness during green flag pit stops. Pit road here at Richmond could make some things interesting. Benny Parsons leads another one over Bill Elliott. Elliott now going to flip to the inside of the All-Pro 30 Michael Waltrip. 47, Ron Bouchard, Ernie Irvin right ahead of Elliott. Elliott back 3.2 seconds off your race leader. Got another 2 seconds behind Bill Elliott. It's Davey Allison working to the outside of Buddy Arrington. Earnhardt starting to catch Allison there. Waltrip behind him watching the show. Waltrip now starting to get some pressure from Bobby Allison as we see they head into turn 1 there. Rusty Wallace even not too far, so we'll see how top 10 transpires here as the race goes on. I would think that they wouldn't go more than 150 laps before pit stops. So I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing some pit stops any time now. Again, I'm not too sure what the pit window is. So we will keep an eye on that. You'll know when I know. Bill Elliott still in second, 3.6 seconds off the lead. Elliott going to go to the high side. It's going to hopefully get him by the 47 Bouchard, the 31 of Sauter. They're going to let the leader by. Or second place, excuse me, Bill Elliott by. Yarborough is going to get by Rusty Wallace's first car to pit. Rusty Wallace takes it pit side. We'll see when the leaders decide to come. Elliott's still out. So about 114 laps before we start pit stops. See if Elliott or Parsons decides to come this time around. Rusty Wallace short pitted, and that's what helped him inevitably get that win at Daytona. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe he'll be able to kind of cycle back up into the lead. He's going to fall back though to 20th, 1 lap down. 2 laps down, now in 26th. Go back to your leader. Daryl Waltrip's going to fall victim to Bobby Allison. I think Waltrip might be headed pit side. I am wrong there. Buddy Baker's going to get passed by Yarborough. Parsons continues to lead by almost 4 seconds over Bill Elliott. Davey Allison there, Earnhardt. Not seeing an eye here on pit lane. So Rusty Wallace went about 114 laps before pitting. Benny Parsons, your leader, working lap 118 of this stint. There's the 27 of Wallace on fresh tires. We're about to see the difference here. Wallace, though, 33rd, 2 laps down. Going to try to get a lap back. Force Benny Parsons way outside. 27 of Rusty Wallace. Finding some speed on fresh tires there. Still not seeing anybody head pit side there. Wallace is going to need to get back on lead, or at least 1 lap down. 27. There's Rusty Wallace, now 33rd, 1 lap down. So depending on how pit sequence goes with the leaders, when the leaders pit, Rusty inevitably should move up to the lead. And my guess is even put some of these big some of the big name lead lap cars, end up putting them a lap down and trapping them a lap down since he has already pitted. Still no other pit stops here yet. As I say that, Michael Waltrip's going to head pit side. Pitting the 25th position approximately. Ricky Rudd's going to head pit side too. Going to start trickling some pit stops in. Be interesting to see how this all starts to play out when the mass of the field starts to pit. Parsons go another round. Bill Elliott. Davey Allison's caught Bill Elliott here through traffic. That is in Earnhardt's with Davey Allison in tow. Bobby Allison not far behind. Darrell Waltrip there. So Rusty Wallace has pitted 28th. Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd have both pitted. They're Waltrip 2 laps down, 41st. Ricky Rudd 3 laps down, 42nd. Bill Elliott's going to get passed there by Davey Allison at the line. Earnhardt there working on the outside of Ron Bouchard. 2 by 2 there, Jimmy Means. 19 of Derek Cope. The 8, I believe that is Bobby Helen Jr. Yep. No other pit. Darrell Waltrip's going to pit. Tied 17 cars going to head pit side. That's one of your first cars inside the top 10 to head to the pits. As it looks like Parsons wanted in there, couldn't quite get it. Bill Elliott's going to head to the pits. First car is going to bring Bobby Allison with him. So we're that's 127 laps. So that's going to give, I would expect Benny Parsons is going to have to get to pit lane soon. Davey Allison's headed to pit. Earnhardt's headed to pit. Buddy Baker from the one at Brett Bodine lap car. So Benny Parsons is going to push the envelope here. Oh, hard check up there. I think Parsons wanted to head to pits, but the 19 of Derek Cope had other plans. That's going to cost some time. Let's see if we can find a replay there. I think the plan was to clear to the bottom, but the 19, the 52, and the 8, I think he got hard on the brakes, locked it up. Benny Parsons is going to take it pit side, maybe? Not sure what's going on here. Issues with the 35. Try to figure this out. It's to the pits. Issues for Parsons? It's going to put Ernie Irvin, your race leader. As the 35. Parsons has exited the race. Currently towing, if I'm not mistaken. Ernie Irvin takes it into pit. That's going to cycle Rusty Wallace back out to the lead. I have no clue what happened right there with the 35 car of Benny Parsons. That's going to cause Parsons got washed up, and I don't know what happened here on pit road. Gets onto pit road fine. And I think the 4, I think he was trying to cut in. The 4 was there, and the AI caused him to get confused, and then all the cars there on the inside, and that just bottled him up. So, man, that's a tough break for the 35 of Parsons. Benny Parsons now last place, 2 laps down after some pit road confusion there. So Rusty Wallace has cycled to the lead 19 laps since they last pitted over Davey Allison 5 laps ago. Michael Waltrip a lap down in 19th, a lap down. Bobby Hillman Jr. there, the first car on, 1 lap down. Kowicki's going to be the last car on the lead lap there in 17th. Just about everybody has pitted other than Chet Phillip, Mark Stahl. Connie Saylor has not pitted. They're working the laps 133. This might play out in their favor. Everybody else pitted about lap 127. Mark Stahl is going to head pit side. The 82. About 133 laps they got on that run. So now that we've sorted through all that, your top 10, Rusty Wallace leads over Davey Allison by about 3 seconds. Dale Earnhardt about another second behind the leader in 3rd. He's got pressure though from 4th place Bobby Allison. Bill Elliott pitted from 2nd, now back to 5th. Darrell Waltrip in 6th, Buddy Baker in 7th. Some distance between each of those. Schrader and Yarbrough are going to be battling for 8th and 9th. Jeff Bodine there in 10th. Neil Bonnet 11th. Harry Gant not too far behind. There's Morgan Shepherd. Then some distance back to Kyle Petty in 14th. Lake Speed there putting pressure on Petty for 14th to round out the top 15. Yarbrough and Schrader continue to do battle. Lap times now only about a second and a half to 2 seconds slower now than at session best. So tires have definitely gained these guys some speed here today. Working on lap 138, about to be on lap 139. Connie Saylor, Chet Phillip have pitted on lap 135, so they managed to make it about 133 laps on that fuel run. But being so far back and laps down prior to pitting, and pitting so late, they've only managed to bury themselves. So, barring any cautions, that strategy might pay off for them, but we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the race. Wallace continues to lead 1.1 seconds over Davey Allison. Allison starting to put the heat on, bringing Earnhardt, fellow Allison, Bobby, Bill Elliott not too far back. Only about 3.5 seconds in between first and fifth. 5 seconds between first and sixth. So about a second and a half between fifth and sixth. So the top 5 might get interesting, especially with Rusty Wallace 15 lap, about 14 to 15 lap older tires on that car. We'll see how Davey Allison runs them down. We'll leave the camera here watching Davey Allison. Step away for a minute. I'll be back in a moment. Back in action here, Cody G. As we come back live, still live, as we come back here in the announcer booth. Davey Allison now in a half a second, about 3/10 away. Now going to have no lap cars in between him and your leader, Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt less than a second behind. Bobby Allison rounds out fourth. All 4 of those cars are within, or all 3 of those cars are within a second of the leader. Have a single file train there, the 41. Ronnie Thomas, Earnhardt, the 22 of Allison. There's the 71, Dave Marcus, and the 11. That's a Bodine, or that's Labonte, excuse me, I knew that. I was thinking the 1 of Brett Bodine for some reason there. Earnhardt looking to the inside of the 41, Ronnie Thomas. Rusty Wallace to the outside of the 19, Derek Cope. Rusty Wallace now back to second. Davey Allison's pass for the lead, pulling out by 4 tenths at this time. A second, make the gap about half a second here at the line. Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace. Wallace now under attack from Earnhardt. That difference of about 14 lap tires might be hurting Wallace. As you see Earnhardt able to drive it in just a lot deeper there than Wallace. Earnhardt able to drive it in deeper than Wallace. Wallace on the outside. Bobby Allison right there in fourth. Rusty on the outside still. Working lap 148. We are over a third of the way complete here already. Recording time shows 1 hour and 10 minutes. Nearing the halfway point here in about a half hour more or less. trucking along here. Davey Allison leads over Dale Earnhardt now. Rusty Wallace has fallen back to third, but he's got pressure from Bobby Allison. Bill Elliott there, all within the same sights in fifth. Then there's some distance back. Darrell Waltrip, 2 seconds in between fifth and sixth. Darrell Waltrip 5 seconds off the lead. Bill Elliott about 3. Earnhardt sits about half a second behind that race leader there, Davey Allison. Davey Allison working behind. That's the 8 of Bobby Hillman Jr. Miller car. Red and white, number 8. Buick. Allison going to look to the outside. Set up the pass down the front stretch. Here comes Earnhardt. So race leaders so far have been Bill Elliott, Benny Parsons, Davey Allison. Earnhardt's going to look to get his 5 bonus points here. So you see first and second here in the same frame with 8 of Bobby Hillman Jr. in between them. The Miller American Buick, number 8, Hillman Jr. Earnhardt, half a second behind leader Allison, as Davey Allison has a monstrous gap in between himself and the next lap car. On my screen, looking at the live track map showing positions, Allison is right now going into 1, and the next lap car he will approach is 37th place car Buddy Arrington. So as we see Allison there coming into, let's take a look here. So Allison heads into 3. Here is 37th place Buddy Arrington exiting turn 4, now at the finish line. So almost a straightaway, half a straightaway to a straightaway. Clean air for your leader. So Earnhardt's going to work around Hillman Jr. Bobby Allison's got the 41 of Ronnie Thomas behind him. 71 of Dave Marcus right ahead of Bobby. It's Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace do battle. Wallace has started to fade from the lead back to 5th. Combination, I would say, of tire wear and lap traffic / track position. Elliott there to the outside. 19 of Derek Cope right ahead of them. The 56 of Ernie Irvin there to the right of your screen. Derek Cope resides 30th, 2 laps down. 56 of Ernie Irvin, 21st, 1 lap down. Solid day, honestly, for Ernie Irvin. Wiki still the last car to be on the lead lap. About 17 seconds between him and the leader. So he's about 5 seconds right now to the good ahead of Davey Allison. There's Allison into 1. Earnhardt there behind him. Currently watching Miller High Life 400 recreation, 87 NASCAR Winston Cup Series cars here at Richmond on CodyG.TV. In lap 159. You're still watching here as we approach the halfway. When we get to this halfway point, if you are still watching and enjoying this video, please give it a like, drop a comment, tell me your favorite 1987 Winston Cup Series driver. Let me know who you're wanting to see win this race. Let me know who you think will win it. Drop a like, drop a comment. Hell, even give me a subscribe. Make my day. Hit the holy trifecta there. So when we hit that halfway point, if any of those 3 things spark your fantasy, go ahead and drop it for me today. I would greatly appreciate that. Any questions, comments, or feedback, drop them down below. Let me know what you think if you're enjoying it. Been a good one here so far. As we go back to the race for the lead, Earnhardt, 4/10 a second off of Allison. Not pushing the issue really there. Wallace and Elliott do battle. Wallace to the outside. Bill Elliott, the bottom. They about met in the middle there and made contact. In turns 3 and 4. They've been battling, not been able to really get through lap traffic probably as well as either of them would like to. Kind of in the middle of the race here. About a little over a third of the way through this pit run, what will likely be this pit run. So not really trying to push the envelope. Rusty Wallace on a little bit older tires than Elliott. Elliott probably trying to save his tires towards the end of this run. Elliott's going to get held up there behind the 41 of Thomas. That's going to let Rusty Wallace by. Wallace is going to take Elliott to a nice little dinner at Gapplebee's, put about a half a second in between Wallace now and Bill Elliott. That is third or fourth and fifth. Let's go to third, Bobby Allison. Here's your leaders within half a second of each other. Davey Allison clocking some laps. Let's take a moment to go back. Let's find Benny Parsons. Fastest car of the race. Arguably led the most laps here today. A little bit of some confusion by the driver on pit road, trying to blend into their pit box. Ended up with Benny Parsons having to tow to the pit box. It's an iRacing, basically resetting to the pit box, then doing a pit stop. And that ended up putting Parsons pitting the leader and coming out 2 laps down. So that arguably will ruin his day. But at least we'll have 5 bonus points for leading a lap, if not 10 bonus points, the additional 5 there for leading the most laps. Don't think that's going to happen, though, unfortunately. There are your leaders. Allison now. Bobby Allison in third. Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott right behind him. 3-car battle, third, fourth, fifth. Yarborough has about 2 seconds behind Bill Elliott out of the picture there, though. Wallace going to get to the outside and pass the 71 to Dave Marcus. Bill Elliott looking to the outside there, the 11, Terry Labonte. Got that right this time. Wasn't thinking Brett Bodine. Speaking of Brett Bodine, let's take a moment. Let's look at him, see where he's at. 33rd, 2 laps down in the bullseye car. Jimmy Means on the Turtle Wax 52 just in front of him. The 5, the Levi Garrett machine. Fellow Bodine, Jeff Bodine, pair of Bodines right there. Bullseye, Levi Garrett Mobiles. Jeff Bodine rounds out the top 10 right now. Good run for Jeff, not so much of a good run for Brett. Jeff P10. Davey Allison leads them. This will kind of, if Davey Allison wins this, it'll kind of make things come full circle. As Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, and Bill Elliott, those 4 were the 4 dominant cars to start the season at Daytona. Davey Allison led a bunch of laps. I think he have to go back and look. I'm trying to remember either a bad pit stop or some lap traffic, or maybe it was a collision, I want to say, with the backstretch wall out at 2. I can't entirely remember on that one, honestly. But Davey Allison had what I would call at least a good, if not fair, chance to win the 500. Some misfortune kind of ruined his day there. Never really said his name much of, if at all, last week at Rockingham, if I remember. So, be nice to see him make some noise. Earnhardt, that heartbreaker in the final 5 to 10 laps at Daytona, was able to get redemption there at Rockingham. Having a solid day here in second. Rusty Wallace, your Daytona 500 champion, resides in P3. The other car that was really, really good at Daytona was Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott rounds P5. Elliott's going to look to rebound and try to get some momentum here 22 of Bobby Allison. They're 3 wide there. Benny Parsons through the middle. That got interesting. As a 35, Benny Parsons. Still 30th, 2 laps down. As Parsons heads through turns 1. Allison really not terribly far ahead of him, exiting turn 2. About a straightaway, half a straightaway to straightaway in between your leader, Benny Parsons. Parsons appears to be 5.5 seconds behind the leader. That would be about right, considering they are by. He is by Gilbert. By Russell Wallace. So about 3 seconds behind the lead, more or less, really there for Parsons to get a lap back. Dale Earnhardt there to the inside. That's a fan favorite, Connie Saylor, the Kroger machine. Use your Kroger fuel points. Get at least 10 cents off a gallon. I'd like to point that out. Use your Kroger points. You are a Kroger customer. This is a reminder, use your Kroger fuel points. Save you 10 cents at least on gas. Kroger, your home for groceries. Kroger, also not a sponsor of Cody GTV. Davey Allison leads. Have almost a second now over Earnhardt. Earnhardt needs to go to Kroger and get that jet fuel if he's going to want to catch Davey Allison. Allison. Earnhardt just logging laps here. Wallace, going to look if he's outside of the 67. Buddy Arrington. Here comes Bobby Allison. There's the 8, Bobby Hillin Jr. Pair of Miller cars there in the picture. Followed by a Coors car. It's a 9, Bill Elliott. The Life Buoy 71 there at Dave Marcus. Another beer sponsored car behind them is the 11 at Terry Labonte. Go to Kroger, use your fuel points, and when you go to Kroger, get you some Budweiser, some Coors, some Miller, nice cold beer, crack one open, lean back, and watch the final half of this race coming up here soon. Working on lap 180 of 200. Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt, Dusty Wallace. Hell, while you're at Kroger, get you a can of Kodiak. Pack of Kodiak, can of Kodiak. I want to say it's a can, I'm pretty sure it's a snuff. Get you a can of Kodiak. Get you your tobacco fix. While you're there, get you a case of Miller. Lean back, crack one open. See how this race plays out together, shall we? Just don't end up needing a life buoy. Don't get yourself in trouble. If you drink, don't drive. Leave that to these guys. Take a look at Buddy Baker. Frisco 88 car. Solidly been kind of quiet. Top 10 performance here, Buddy Baker. Currently in the 8th position, 7.6 seconds off the lead. Looking at Darrell Waltrip there. Last time at the line was 6.969 seconds behind the leader. Nice gap between the leader and Waltrip the last time around. Give a little love to Harry Gant, school bandit, 33. P13 for Harry. Lake Speed, rocking that Wins Fluids, number 83 Kmart car. Bright purple car, always good to see that car, always notable, sticking out to see. Wrangler 3, Dale Earnhardt. Abilene Special, 28 there, Davey Allison. Connie Saylor there. holding up the 22 of Bobby Allison. That's going to let Rusty Wallace, Kodiak Pontiac, paint scheme. They're going to go to the inside, almost 3 wide. Are we going to go 3 wide? Got a little dicey there between Allison and Sailor. Sailor the outside, Allison the inside. Almost got doors there. Stay clean and green, no problems here today. Give some airtime here to the back half of the field. So Connie Sailor, 43rd, 4 laps down. Chet Phillip there in the 81 machine. Marshall Batteries car, 42nd, 3 laps down. Mark Stahl, 41st, 3 laps down, 82 Mobile. Rodney Combs, the 64, 3 laps down in 40th. Steve Chrisman, the 62. In the AC Spark Plug 62. Pontiac, 39th, 3 laps down. Ronnie Thomas, 38th, 3 laps down. The Advanced Auto Parts, 41. Buddy Arrington ahead of him, that's a 67. Panel Sweatshirts, 67 entry. Jim Sauter, 31. 3 laps down in 36. Jim Sauter there in 31st, or 36th in the 31. And the Slender U car, JD McDuffie, 35th, car number 70. Yellow and black machine there to the outside. The Rumpel AC car, Jody Ridley, 2 laps down, 57. The Nationwide Auto Parts sponsored entry. Jimmy Beams, Turtle Wax, 52, 33rd, 2 laps down. Brett Bodine, the Bullseye car, 2 laps down in 32nd. Derek Cope there in the 19th. 2 laps down, 31st. Benny Parsons, 30th, 2 laps down. The Folgers car, fastest car of the race, led a bunch of laps early before a little bit of a kerfuffle there on pit lane. 29th will be the 50 of Greg Sachs, the Valvoline car. Dale Jarrett there, car number 18 in the Coates and Clark's sponsored entry. 54 of Donnie Allison, that paint scheme not rendering here today properly. Name and number is correct, improper paint scheme. So move to 26th place, Rick Wilson, 1 lap down, the Kodak car. Phil Parsons now was lapped earlier by Benny, now is well ahead of Benny. 55 Copenhagen machine. Get you some Copenhagen at your local Kroger. Ricky Rudd, 24th, the Motorcraft Quality Parts 15 entry, 1 lap down, 24th. Michael Waltrip, the All-Pro car, there to the inside. That's 33 of Harry Gant. We'll get him in a moment. Ernie Irvin, the 56 car, 22nd, a lap down. Ron Bouchard, 21st, the 47. Hawaiian Punch Days in Moore sponsored 47 car, 1 lap down, 21st. Terry Labonte, Budweiser, number 11 entry, 20th place, 1 lap down. Bobby Hillen Jr., the 8 Miller car, 1 lap down in 19th. Dave Marcus, 71st, or 71 in 18th, 1 lap down. And man, I need me a life buoy to save me. I can't talk here today. Alan Kwiecki, outside of your race leader there. Kwiecki going to go be the first car a lap down now in 17th. Kwiecki in the Z-Rex number 7. King Richard Petty, STP Pontiac, P16, last car on lead lap. Kyle Petty, Sitco 21. I believe that's a Wood Brothers entry. Don't quote me. I can't remember. It's a Ford. Sitco. Ford. Kyle Petty. 7-11 there on the rear quarter panel. Lake Speed, the win's 83, 14. Sitting about 16.5 seconds behind your race leader. Harry Gant, School Bandit 33. To the inside of the 41, Ronnie Thomas. Harry Gant, 13th place, 13 seconds off the lead. Neil Bonnet, the Valvoline 75, P12. Morgan Shepherd, 26th, quicker state car. Had a fairly quiet day for Morgan Shepherd, along with the 5 of Jeff Bodine, rounding out the top 10. Levi Garrett entry. There's Buddy Baker. They kind of forced our fan favorite Connie Saylor high on wide there in 3 and 4 you saw. Ken Schrader in 8th. That's the 90 Red Baron Frozen Pizzas entry. Darrell Waltrip right in front of him. Tide 17. Gil Yarborough. Hardy's 29. The 9, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Melling Oil Pumps Coors, number 9. Running out the top 5, about 4.5 seconds off your race leader. Bobby Allison, the Miller car, P4 for Bobby. About 3.5 seconds off your race leader. Rusty Wallace, Daytona 500 champion, rounds out P3, rounding out the podium, the Kodiak 27. Dale Earnhardt, the Wrangler number 3 Chevrolet, P2, 1.2 seconds off your race leader, which leads us finally to the 28 of Davey Allison. Race leader here at the halfway point. Managed to do that perfectly. That's what I was trying to do. Davey Allison leads at the halfway point in the Havoline car over Dale Earnhardt. 1 second is the gap. Got the 64 there of Rodney Combs and the 7 of Kowicki. Richard Petty, the king. Last car here on the lead lap. Needs to get by the 54 there of Donnie Allison. His paint scheme is not loaded. As Ken Schrader, Darrell Waltrip battle. 7th in turn 3. 31 at Jim Sauter there. The 11 of Lamani. Working about early to mid 70s in the lap since last pitted, so we went about 130 to 1, I think about 130, 133 since the last pit stop for the bulk of the field. So about 50 laps before we'll start seeing pit stops again. Should be pit stops about lap 250 to 260, in that range, I would assume. And then another 130. So after that point on, pretty much, it should be just a matter of one pit stop. It should be a pit stop within the final, say, 30 laps. So 2 more pit stops really to go, and only 1 in the book. So pit stops really are important today, as there's not many of them. Earnhardt about nearing the 2-second mark off the lead. Kowicki right in front of him, McDuffie and Jody Ridley in the rear view for Earnhardt. Let's go on board. About halfway through this pit cycle, a little over halfway, excuse me, through this pit cycle. So we're here letting off the throttle early, working the brake, put a little bit of throttle through the middle, and picking it up when the car gets nice and straight down the straightaway. Don't want to slip the tires. Just trying to keep the car underneath the driver. So there's Earnhardt. We see Allison ahead of him there, about 2 cars. Let's go look at Allison now. Allison about to have 28th place. Dale Jarrett right there in front of him. I'm going to put Dale Jarrett here about 2. Dale Jarrett in danger of going 2 laps down. We're halfway home at this point. Only an hour and a half of recording time, so we might be done in about 3 hours worth of recording time. Alright, been quiet for a minute. Getting some refreshments. As Dale Earnhardt, second off of Davey Allison. Lefty on Davey Allison, and not much has changed. He continues to lead here. About 5 laps or so. Why I was MIA. Davey Allison leads over Dale Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace about a second behind Earnhardt, 2 seconds off the race lead. Wallace has started to gain some momentum late, but he's going to have to pit here in about 30 laps. Compared to the leaders, you're going to go probably up, or the top two and most of the rest of the field that go about 45 laps. So interesting to see what that does with Rusty Wallace. Pitting early saved him, helped him at Daytona. That off-cycle pit stops. Allison now back to Earnhardt, 3/10 of a second. Earnhardt starting to put the pressure on as Davey Allison's back into some lap traffic. Rusty Wallace not too far behind Earnhardt either. Bobby Allison, though, a big break in between him and Wallace, about 3 seconds in between third and fourth. Earnhardt to Allison, about a 10th. Allison to the inside. Earnhardt's going to go to the outside. Going to fade down low. Allison had to get on the brakes to avoid the 54. Donnie Allison, Earnhardt. Stand right with your leader. Here comes Rusty Wallace. 1, 2, 3, all in the same frame. Jeff Bodine, Neil Bonnet, they do battle for ninth. Bonnet going to get by Bodine. There's a 26, a Shepherd. Go back to the leaders. 28, 3, 27. 1, 2, 3. Allison, Earnhardt, Wallace. Got the 1 of Brett Bodine to the outside. The 54 of Donnie Allison to the outside. Wallace is going to look to the outside. That's going to pin him behind the 54. Earnhardt to the inside. Davey Allison to the inside. See those brake rotors a-glowing on your leaders and lappers. Starting to use less and less throttle, a lot of brake as we're nearing the final 30 laps or so of this pit run. Allison going to pull it back out to about half a second worth of lead. Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace going to do battle there for second. Bodine, Allison. Wallace about into the 54 of Allison. Allison kind of came down there a little bit. Wallace washed up. Earnhardt's clear. Wallace to the inside of Bodine. 52 of Jimmy Means there. Going to come into play with Earnhardt and your leader Davey Allison. Jimmy Means going to let Earnhardt by. 4 of Rick Mast, about 4 or 5 car lengths ahead of your leader Davey Allison. Rusty Wallace about 5 car lengths now behind your leader Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt's kind of moved to the top part of the groove now. Working that second lane, getting off the bottom now. Earnhardt was pretty much the first to kind of find the grip last week at Rockingham, find those higher outside lines and get the car rolling. See what he decides to find and do here at Richmond. Go into turn 1, going to have the nose inside of the 4 of Rick Wilson. As your leader battles the fan favorite, Connie Saylor. Kroger car, 6 on the brakes. Rick Wilson almost ran over the back of Connie Saylor. Top 3 all within a second. Earnhardt about 4/10 back. Another 2/10 back to Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt there to the inside of Allison, making his move through traffic. 3 wide through turns 2, as you've seen there. Looking to go the 41 of Ronnie Thomas went high and wide. Earnhardt's going low on the straightaways, getting out of the rubber, and then kind of trying to find either the bottom or the second lane there. Through the turns, he kind of slipped up there. He's going to let Rusty Wallace by. Wallace now, they get close on corner exit. Wallace and Earnhardt. Earnhardt still P2. Davey Allison now behind Richard Petty. Petty, 43 car. 16th place, the last car on the lead lap, just in front of your leaders. The Pontiac painted entry, STP oil treatment. Allison not been able to get by Petty. Now going to look to the outside and going to do that. Earnhardt to the bottom of Wallace. Be interesting to see how Petty plays into the factor here. Allison had to go high. Wallace is going to look to the outside. Wallace gets way up out of the groove there. It's going to let Earnhardt to his inside. Earnhardt needs to get by Petty. Earnhardt's going to look to the inside of Petty there as the camera comes back into focus. That's going to use I thought Wallace was going to be able to use Petty to get around Earnhardt, but Earnhardt's going to be able to use Petty to maintain his lead over Wallace. Wallace, though, all over the back bumper of Earnhardt. Earnhardt's still running a little bit of a unique line down the front stretch, getting kind of down low there into clean track. Not sure what the strategy there is. Really see the braking on corner entry. If you really, I don't know how much it's picking up on the video, but when these cars go into the corners, you'll see the brakes glow red and then really start to die off. Like they get hard on the brake and then they're just off the throttle and off the brake. Let's see if we can watch it here into 3. There you see the heat build up, and then immediately it starts to kind of start to cool as they get right off the brake. Really interesting to see. Hopefully your camera in television or computer at home is showing an also neat little tidbit showing them using a lot of brake on corner entry. Change camera up here for a little bit to try to show you a better. See, there's the red you saw on the left front, and as you look there on the left front of Earnhardt and forward, kind of like an orange color, gets into the turn, bright orange, almost white hot. Your leaders there, top 3. Allison leads. Earnhardt, Wallace on the bumper. It's going to get exciting here as there is a hornet's nest of lap traffic right in front of your leaders. 55 of Parsons, 19 of Derek Cope, 31 of Jim Sauter, 81 of Chad Phillip. Rusty Wallace looking to the outside. Not going to be able to clear Earnhardt. About made it 3 wide though. Wallace thought better of it when I tuck in behind the 19 of Derek Cope. A.V. Allison almost made it 3 wide between Chet Phillip and Jim Sauter. As Rusty Wallace is going to have to pit in about 10 laps or so. As we say that, commentators curse. Lap 100, 123 laps since he last pitted. Rusty Wallace is going to be the first one to dip into pit lane. Let's see what that does for Rusty. As Dale Earnhardt knocking on the back bumper of your leader, Davey Allison. Jim Sauter right in front of them. Earnhardt to the outside. Door to door, neck and neck, out of 4. Door to door, out of 4. Earnhardt leads the lap. There's 5 bonus points, I believe, finally for Earnhardt for leading the lap. I believe that's actually his first lap that he's led. I don't think he has actually managed to get by Davey Allison yet. Sauter going to go high, hard on the brakes, pushes tight, lets the leaders by though. 30 or the 55 of Phil Parsons there. Copenhagen 55. So Rusty Wallace going to be back to 20th, 1 lap down. Rusty up to 20th is 6th car 1 lap down. Be the first car 1 lap down. I have to get by Richard Petty, and Richard Petty is almost in the county a lap ahead of him. There's Richard Petty. As Richard Petty is heading into 3, Wallace is heading into 1. So have to get some momentum going. They are 3 wide lap traffic right there in front of Rusty Wallace. He has the speed. Everybody else in front of him has not pitted yet, so Wallace is on fresh tires. Got the speed and the momentum. He is going to probably end up burning those tires up a little bit, trying to get through lap traffic. Earnhardt leads over Davey Allison, Bobby Allison, Bill Elliott. They're doing battle. That's for third and fourth. 5 seconds behind your race leader. And Schrader there, 6 seconds off the race lead, so he's catching Elliott and Allison in that show as we see them all in the same picture. Yarborough and Darrell Waltrip do battle. Neil Bonnet way behind them out by himself. Morgan Shepherd, Jeff O'Dine do battle for 9th and 10th. And on lap 243, as Allison's looking to put some pressure back on Earnhardt. There's 15 though. Ricky Rudd, the Motorcraft Ford, outside of Davey Allison. Nearing lap 250. Expect pit stops in the next 10 to 14 laps for the bulk of the field. Last pit stop for Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd was 122, so they'll go probably about another 10 laps. Earnhardt, Allison, Bobby Allison, they pitted 118 laps ago for the top 5. They'll go to about 130 to 133. So about 12 to 15 laps. Earnhardt's lead stretched out to about almost a second now over Davey Allison. Ricky Rudd there running the outside. Bobby Allison, Bill Elliott, Ken Schrader there. 81, Chet Phillip. Caution free here so far, nearing lap 250. Inside Earnhardt, inside of Rodney Combs, 64 car. Earnhardt leads by almost a second over Davey Allison. Here's the 30, Michael Waltrip. Michael Waltrip in the 30 car. 23rd a lap down, about to become the first car 2 laps down. For the highest position car, Waltrip's going to head pit side. That's definitely going to put him 2 laps down. Ricky Rudd and Michael Waltrip head to pits. About 8 laps or so before the leaders come into pit road. Earnhardt looked kind of slow there out at 2. I think my eyes are deceiving me. Nope. Earnhardt, 125 laps. He's going to hand it over to Allison. Wrangler, number 3, Chevrolet, heads pit side. So that's going to hand it over. It's going to bring Bobby Bobby Allison into pit lane as well. Darrell Waltrip, I believe, is in. Give Davey Allison the lead. He's going to go another couple laps around here. Michael Waltrip's out of pit lane, so is Ricky Rudd. Let's see, Bill Elliott heads in and brings Ken Schrader with him. I think Davey's going to pit this lap. Seems like he was kind of slow there off of 2. Davey brings the 28 in pit side. So that would throw the lead to Cale Yarborough. Yarborough's going to go around. Davey Allison still leads. Cale Yarborough is not scored the race leader yet. Yarborough's going to dip, I guess. Yep, there goes Yarborough. So he's not going to lead a lap. Morgan Shepherd, in theory, would become the race leader. But it still shows Jeff Godine exited pit lane. Bomb. Sure what happened in quality there. So Morgan Shepherd's going to lead a couple laps. It's going to get him 5 bonus points. In theory. Lake Speed, Bobby Hillin Jr., Buddy Baker complete pit stops. Dale Earnhardt is out. Earnhardt now 28th, 2 laps down. I have to see how this cycles back out. As Buddy Baker's in. Rusty Wallace is probably going to cycle back up to the lead. Kowicki is going to have to pit. Kyle Petty needs to pit. Shepard is in. Benny Parsons is in the 35. This is going to start to heat things up here. Buddy Baker's out. 88. Let's see. But the 8 and the 88 head out. Bobby Hillin Jr. And the 8, Buddy Baker here. Dale Earnhardt in the 3. 27th. Back on the lead lap, Bill Elliott right in front of him. 9th place, Bill Elliott. So this should move Earnhardt back up. Waiting on my timing and scoring and everything to update here. Ron Bouchard hasn't pitted. That's making things a little complicated. Earnhardt still 22nd a lap down. Pitted as the leader. 35 of Parsons, way below the yellow line there. Not sure what was happening to him. Earnhardt's going to get by Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott 4th. Earnhardt is 18th a lap down. Needs to get by Rusty Wallace. But Earnhardt in the car number 3. Well behind the leader. Kyle Petty up to 15th. Lake Speed 14th. Ron Bouchard is pit side. Earnhardt 15th now. I think it might help him though pitting early this stop because he'll be one of the first cars in the next run, but then should be able to go. Should only be about one more pit stop. Earnhardt pitted on about lap 255. 256. He can go about 130 laps. That's going to take him to 380-ish. So he will be good. Rusty Wallace is still good, but Wallace is 27 laps since his last pit stop, so he's going to have to pit a lot sooner. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Wallace heads into 3, Earnhardt heads into 1. See what transpires here. Rusty Wallace leads by 7 seconds over Davey Allison, and another 3 seconds back to Bobby Allison. Bill Elliott 4th. Ken Schrader rounds out the top 5. Earnhardt's right behind him, though, a lap down. Darrell Waltrip 6th. Yarborough 7th. Neil Bonnet 8th. Jeff Bodine 9th. Harry Gant up to the top 10. Jimmy Means has completed his pit stop. 52 Turtle Wax sponsored car. Davey Allison's chomping at the bit. Was 6, almost 7 seconds, I believe, behind the race leader. Now in the below 5 seconds. Rusty Wallace's pace a lot slower than Davey Allison's. Davey Allison is a man on a mission. As JD McDuffie, Buddy Arrington complete pit stops, so does Jody Ridley. Davey Allison now almost nearing the 4 seconds between him and Wallace. A difference of almost 20 laps of tires. Doesn't seem like much considering we're going about 130 laps on pit runs, but 20 laps is a factor here. Wallace to the outside of Harry Gant, 71 of Dave Marcus, Dale Jarrett, Buddy Baker, and I believe that's 26 of Shepard. Davey Allison now within the 3, nearing the 3 second behind. Davey Allison's going to get by Rusty Wallace. Start to put a hurting on him. Now within 3 seconds, Davey's going to have to get by the fan favorite, Connie Saylor. Kroger car. Reminder to shop Kroger. Use your Kroger fuel points to get at least 10 cents off a gallon on a tank of gas. Shop at your local Kroger. As Kodiak car leads by 3 seconds over Davey Allison. 28 has been a rocket ship here today. Steve Chrisman, Ronnie Thomas complete pit stops. They run 42nd, 43rd. No cars out of the race here today. Been caution free since the green flag drop. And Schrader's going to get by Bobby Allison. They're about 5.5 seconds behind the leader. Dale Earnhardt's right with them, so Earnhardt's about 6 seconds off the leader. Rodney Combs completes his pit stop. Combs is in 43rd, 6 laps in. Car's starting to get below the yellow line, almost down to the apron there. Let's take a little bit of a replay. Almost looked like he may have even, it looks like they almost want to go to pit road, then they fade back out. Kind of interesting to see that. That's not the first time I've noticed that. Davey Allison now within two seconds of Rusty Wallace. Only 2 lap cars there, the 82 and the 50. It's 82 Mark Stahl, the 50 of Greg Sacks. The pressure is on. Davey Allison a second and a half rather. Bill Elliott is going to get by Bobby Allison. There's Kyle Petty, 21 car, 15th, one lap down. So the 9 and the 22. Ken Schrader's just above them. Allison now 8/10 behind the race leader. There's Rusty, there's Davey, almost in the same frame. Seven-tenths the gap. Your leader there on the left edge of your screen, there's second place. Ken Schrader about 4 seconds behind the leader. Four-tenths is the gap. Rusty Wallace to Davey Allison. Working around the 35. Sad moment. Let's take a moment to reflect on the 20 first place car, the 35 of Benny Parsons. This race has been caution free, and he's the one guy that would have loved to see a caution. Rusty Wallace leads. Here comes Davey. 47 there of Ron Bouchard. Bouchard to the outside. He's going to give Allison some room. Allison catching the back of Wallace. Your race is for the lead. Bouchard's trying to stay out of the way. Schrader there behind Earnhardt. Let's take a look at Earnhardt, 14th, one lap down. Davey Allison got him. There's the battle for the lead. Man, I pulled a fox. Missed the battle for the lead. Davey Allison got by him. He's going to clear him. Pulls in front of him down low. Nearly pulling out to about 3/10, about 2.5 car lengths in between them. Bouchard pulled back away in 47, so not sure what happened there. Rusty Wallace now half a second back already. Lake Speed there in the 3 on the edge of the screen. Let's see. 13th place a lap down. 12 cars on the lead lap. Morgan Shepherd there, the last car on the lead lap. 19 seconds behind the leader, so about 3 to 4 seconds to the good. Davey Allison continues to lead it. Ron Bouchard, there's 3 wide lap cars in front of the leader. Bouchard got by the 82 of Mark Stahl. 3 wide behind Rusty Wallace. Lake Speed, 56 of Ernie Irvin. And 64 of Rodney Cohn. Davey Allison by a second and a half. Schrader's back only 2.1. Schrader's catching Rusty Wallace too. Schrader, that's a name I haven't really talked much about today. The Red Baron Frozen Pizza entry, number 90. He's been quietly just chipping away. He's finding himself in the 83 now. Wallace to the inside of Lake Speed. Schrader to the outside. Schrader to the outside with a run. Going to almost clear Rusty Wallace. Couldn't quite do it. Oh no, are we going to go 3 wide? Earnhardt thinks better. Tucks behind Schrader. Schrader around the outside there. Going to clear Wallace. Not quite. Wallace going to get the run. Kyle Petty right there in the 21. Schrader not been able to clear Wallace, but has the advantage. Schrader in a Ford. Wallace in a painted Pontiac. Schrader clears Wallace for the time being. See how long this holds. All this happening about 2.5 seconds behind your race leader, Davey Allison. Approaching the final 100 laps of this race. Working on lap 290 of the 400 lap affair. Davey Allison and Schrader. Rusty Wallace back here. Monitor Dale Earnhardt. He needs to get by Lake Speed to be the first car 1 lap down. Currently riding just behind Schrader, so he's about 2.5 seconds behind the leader. Davey Allison, there's Schrader, Earnhardt right behind him. There is going to be one more pit stop in about 100 laps. So cars are going to be about 10 laps shy approximately on fuel, so we'll see how those final 10 laps pan out. Schrader, 2.1. Earnhardt right behind him. Rusty Wallace, he's got some pressure from 21 of 15th place Kyle Petty. Jimmy Means is there also. Kyle Petty has a big gap over his father, Richard Petty. About 6 seconds. Richard Petty is a lap down, so is Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, Lake Speed. And Schrader within 2 seconds, looking about 1.9 off the leader, Davey Allison. We will look at a couple of back markers here. There's Jimmy Mean, 33rd, 41, 33rd, 4 laps down. Mark Stahl battling the leader there. 40th place, 6 laps down. Mark Stahl, car number 82. Davey Allison lead. Bill Elliott now is about half a second away from Rusty Wallace, so Bill Elliott's getting into the picture again here. Bringing Bobby Allison with him. Phil Yarborough a good bit back, about 3.5 seconds away from Bobby Allison. Schrader nearing about a second half behind Davey Allison. Schrader has been quiet most of the race, even here inside the top 2 when he got inside the top 10 and top 5. Quietly worked his way up to second. Now continues to be chipping away at the bit from your leader, a 10th faster than your leader the last lap. So barring one more pit stop, Schrader should be able to catch him. Donnie Allison gets by Rick Wilson. Speaking of the Allisons, this is a battle back here for 25th. Michael Waltrip just is ahead of them, out of the picture. Go back to your race later. 50, Greg Sachs there. 82, Mark Stahl. 1 of Brett Bodine. A 19 of Derek Pope, just ahead of your leader. Schrader to the outside of the 83 of Lake Speed. Lake Speed is the first car to be 1 lap down, residing in 13th. Earnhardt is in 14th. So Earnhardt gets by Lake Speed and a caution comes out. That puts him in the luck dog seat. Could make things interesting. We are on lap 300. 101 laps to go here. About 40 minutes or so should be the completion of this race. Lap times in the low 23-second bracket, so not quite turning 3 laps a minute. Currently 2 hours and 16 minutes is the recording time, so about 2 hours more or less, about 2 hours. We'll just go off the recording time, so I mean about 2 hours and 16 minutes, and we've managed to click 300 laps off here. It's been a caution-free event so far. Still have one more pit stop to happen for pretty much everybody. Rusty Wallace should be the first one to go. Last pitted 65 laps ago compared to top 2, 47 and 48 laps ago. Schrader now within a second, 8/10 off the lead. Davey Allison getting into lap traffic. That's letting Schrader get closer, but Schrader's going to have to do a better job of getting through the traffic. We look at Ernie Irvin's car there. Look at 56. Rear chase. See all the rubber little pellets there on the front of his car. Inside the number 1 of Bodine. Schrader back there in second. See your race leader about 2 cars ahead, 2 or 3 cars ahead there on the inside line. The 50 of Greg Sachs. We'll let Schrader have the outside. Hear that off throttle time. Back in it. Schrader, we'll see what he decides to do. Get by the 1 of Bodine, the 56 of Ernie Irvin. We'll say, is that right? It's not Rodney Cohn. 19 and Derek Cope. Couldn't quite get a good look at the video. Schrader just slipped a 10th or so away from Davey Allison. Allison now leads by a second. Rusty Wallace 1.7 seconds back. You can see Schrader and Wallace there in the same frame. Here comes Bill Elliott as Earnhardt got passed by Kyle Petty, so Earnhardt's kind of trapped as a lap car. Lake Speed, the first car lap down, then Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt. Still going to have one more pit stop, so we'll see what becomes of that. Schrader 1.2 off the lead. Here comes Rusty Wallace, though. Half a second now between second and third. Benny Parsons only a lap down. Not too far ahead, though, of Davey Allison. 35. Benny Parsons, though, has recovered to be inside the top 20. So barring pit stops and any cautions or anything, Benny might be able to have a good recovery here. Could get interesting. I think Davey will end up putting him a second lap down, though, and that'll pretty much put the final nail in the coffin for Benny Parsons' day here at Richmond. Schrader now 2.2 with Rusty Wallace 2.3 seconds behind. So Schrader and Wallace are going to start battling for second, but Bill Elliott is not too far behind him. A little space back to Bobby Allison. Gil Yarbrough is even farther back. He's out there all by his lonesome. This is another 5 seconds back to Jeff Bodine in 7th. Neil Bonnet right on Bodine's bumper. Darrell Waltrip not too far out of that picture, so 7th, 8th, 9th. You could say throw a blanket over them. Good bit of gap back to Buddy Baker, and Buddy Baker to Morgan Shepherd. There's a good gap. And then Harry Gant, the last car on the lead lap in 12th. And Stevie Allison is going to look to get by the 47 Ron Bouchard. Working lap 314, excuse me, for your race leader. 314. This lap is so sweet, it is a slice of pie. Lap 314. What's your favorite type of pie? Drop that down in the comments. I like pie. Pecan for me. Drop that in a comment. Give us a like. Subscribe if you want to see the rest of this season unfold. Here's the 6 of Connie Saylor. Kroger sponsored mobile. Shop at your local Kroger. Use your Kroger fuel points. Get a couple cents off per gallon of gas. Shop at Kroger. Connie Saylor, the official favorite driver of Cody GTV's 1987 Winston Cup Series. A fan favorite, Connie Saylor, in the Kroger car. Go to Kroger, get you a nice Red Baron pizza, can of Kodiak, and a case of Coors. Call it a good night. As Davey Allison leads it over Schrader. Move and shake back here. Donnie Allison and Phil Parson do battle. Donnie is 26th. Phil Parson sneaks 25th. Michael Waltrip ahead of them by a good bit in 20. 85 laps to go. One more pit stop is remaining. Be about 50 laps for Rusty Wallace, more or less. And about 70 laps, more or less, for your leaders. So, let's see what happens. Kenny Wallace taking it easy, logging laps, maintaining his gap, sits about 2 seconds off the race leader, not pushing the envelope. Neil Bonnet, Jeff Bodine are battling here. This has been a theme throughout much of the race. Neil Bonnet and Jeff Bodine do battle. This time it's for 7th. Darrell Waltrip just behind them. Cale Yarbrough well behind Bobby Allison. Jeff Bodine, Neil Bonnet, Darrell Waltrip to Buddy Baker. That's who I wanted. Was a gap. 5.3 seconds. DW, Mr. Boogity Boogity Boogity, P9. Somebody better call the BBB on Darrell Waltrip for all his boogity boogity boogities. 3 B's. BBB. Schrader, Wall. 83 at Lake Speed there had a run. He's doing battle with Kyle Petty. Dale Earnhardt by the 82 of Mark Stahl. About 1.1 seconds behind Kyle Petty. Dale Earnhardt trying to figure out what Kyle Petty has to do with this. Mark Bouchard passed. Ernie Irvin, Ron Bouchard doing battle here. As Wallace going to get by Schrader if we go back live. Not something I expected. Rusty Wallace kind of starts getting momentum these last 30 laps of his pit runs. Of these Schrader's not wanting to go down without a fight, though. Giving him some run for his money on the outside. Schrader outside in the 90. Wallace to the inside. This will go back to your leader. Approaching the 71 of Dave Marcus. Got Bobby Helen Jr., Dale Jarrett, and I believe that was the 62 of Steve Crispin on the edge of your screen. Davey Allison. Approaching 75 to go here. Davey Allison over Rusty Wallace. Terry Labonte just got by Ron Bouchard ahead of the leaders, battling for 22nd. Or just in front of second, third place Wallace and Schrader. So battle for position right in front of another battle for position. Bill Elliott's looking at them. Second place, Schrader and Wallace. They're starting to kick a couple of times, or a couple of tenths off of Davey Allison. Schrader 2.5 back. Wallace right there still in tow, as they are getting by the 11 of Terry Labonte, 2 laps down, 23rd position. The Bud car. Kentucky Fried Chicken there on the trunk lid. The 18, the 8 and 62, all in front of Davey Allison. It's Dale Jarrett, Bobby Helen Jr., and Steve Crispin. Kyle Petty, Lake Speed do battle for 13. Dale Earnhardt, as Dale Earnhardt is right behind them, so that's about 13th, 14th, 15th. Harry Gant is a good ways ahead of them. Schrader 2.6 seconds back, not able to reel down the leaders. Here comes Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Bill Elliott gonna look to the inside. Wallace there out of 4, couldn't make the pass. Labonte's gonna go low. Leaders are gonna look to go around him on the outside. We approach 70 to go here for your race leader. $70 to go here. Davey Allison, 2.5 over Schrader, with Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott all doing battle, second, third, and fourth. Then it's about another second back to Bobby Allison. And then it's about 4 seconds back to Cale Yarborough. Then it's about 5 seconds back to Darrell Waltrip in 7th. Not far behind him, though, is Neil Bonnet. Not far behind Bonnet is Jeff Bodine. Bodine about 15 seconds off the race lead. Buddy Baker behind him in 10th, 19 seconds behind. Harry Gant, Morgan Shepherd, and Buddy Baker will soon be in danger of going a lap down. And that Havoline Motor Oil Ford has been on a tear. Davey Allison, unofficially, without looking at the final results, has led the most laps. After Benny Parsons' pit road woes, Davey Allison been pretty much the car to beat here. So Rusty Wallace has led a good bit of laps. Schrader's quietly worked his way into second. Still not out of this thing. There's him, Bill Elliott, and Rusty Wallace, all 2, 3, and 4. So Wallace is going to have to pit within the next 20 to 30 laps. Be one of the first ones to make that hard left-hand turn. Here comes Bill Elliott on the outside. Elliott outside of Schrader for second. Last time at the line, Schrader was second. Bill Elliott's going to get by him on the outside. They have Ernie Irvin right in front of them. As your race leader works by the 8 of Bobby Hillin Jr. Allison by 2.7. Bill Elliott has about half a second lead over Schrader. Schrader on the outside there of Ernie Irvin. Rusty Wallace right behind him on the outside of the 47 of Bouchard. And Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, Allison is there in the 22. He's 5th place. As Earnhardt is the 3rd car a lap down. Lake Speed is 13th, first car one lap down. Working 60 to go here. Davey Allison leads Bill Elliott here at Richmond. 2.6 seconds is the gap. Schrader battling to the inside of David Marcus. 71 car. Life Bowie. Helen Ray there on the rear. Don't ask me what either of those are, I have no idea. For my lifetime. 33 Harry Gant, 67 Buddy Arrington. They were side by side. As Davey Allison now is going to get beside Arrington, but it's going to have Harry Gant right in front of him as he heads into turn 1. Approaching 50 to go. Bill Elliott's now within 1.8 seconds, so he's gained a couple tenths. Is that going to be too little too late, though? The leaders will have to pit. Still, Earnhardt finally got by Kyle Petty. Needs to get by Lake Speed to be in the Lucky Dog spot. Or to be in the spot for the free pass, rather. Earnhardt a lap down right behind Rusty Wallace. Wallace going to get by Schrader. Schrader on the outside. So Earnhardt needs to get by Harry Gant, who's way ahead of him. So it's not going to help Earnhardt get back into contention there. Nearing 50 to go. Davey Allison only about a second ahead now of Bill Elliott. Schrader 3.3 seconds off the lead. Schrader on the outside, Wallace on the inside. We are 3 wide. Schrader, Lake Speed, Dale Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace right ahead of them. 3 wide. Somebody's going to have to give. Will this cause a caution? Oh, they're almost 4 wide. Allison, Schrader, Petty. Good. Mighty. This is 3 wide still. Lake Speed, Bobby Allison, Kyle Petty. 3 wide behind them with Schrader, Bouchard, Ernie Irvin. 11. Barry Labonte just watching the show. Lake Speed thought about going middle there on Kyle Petty. And Jody Ridley thought better of it. So Rusty Wallace now. About 1.3 seconds behind Bill Elliott in second. Elliott 2.4 off of Allison. Less than 50 to go. And pit stops still got to happen. Rusty Wallace should be the first one to come. He'll be in about the next 10 to 20 laps. Allison leads it. Bill Elliott has McDuffie and the 31 of Jim Sauter right ahead of him. McDuffie's going to go to the outside. It's going to let Elliott to the inside here. He's going to have to get by the 31 of Sauter. Rusty Walls there. Bobby Allison right on his bumper now. Bobby Allison going to look to get to third. Maybe we'll be able to see an Allison family go 1-2. Definitely not going to run 1-2-3 here today, as the other Allison, Donnie is P25, 2 laps down. There's the 33 of Harry Gant entering the picture there on the right. 12th place, 1 lap down. First car off the lead lap. To Davey Allison, your race leader. Bill Elliott trying to get back by McDuffie again. Not working out for him. Elliott there to the inside, McDuffie on the out. Inside, outside, Elliott, McDuffie. Elliott 2.3 seconds off race leader Davey Allison. Catching the 26 of Morgan Shepherd. 11th place, last car on the lead lap is Sheppy. Buddy Baker about 5 seconds ahead of him. In 10th. Bobby Allison catching Shepherd. Earnhardt P15 a lap down. There's Lake Speed and Kyle Petty, both in front of him. Kyle Petty's 13th, Lake Speed 14th. Harry Gant a good bit ahead of them, as is Morgan Shepherd. Race leader Davey Allison. Allison pitted 102 laps ago. Earnhardt pitted 101. Kind of surprised Earnhardt hasn't had speed to run with or catch Davey Allison. Led some laps here earlier. yet to see back-to-back winners here this week, or so far in the season. I believe Earnhardt won the Busch Clash. Then Wallace won the 500, and Earnhardt won last week at Rockingham. It's still a little interesting to see how this is going to play out with coming to 40 to go. A pit stop is going to be in the playbook. Dale Earnhardt gets by Lake Speed, neck and neck down into 3. Earnhardt to the inside, Lake Speed to the outside. Earnhardt's going to have a nose at the line. Bobby Allison's had Rusty Wallace there at the line. 3 wide, Allison through the middle, Wallace on the bottom, McDuffie goes high and gets out of the way. So Bobby Allison P3, Bill Elliott second, 1.1 seconds off your race leader, Davey Allison. Bill Elliott might have a shot here late in this run. So let's look at Rusty Wallace. He should be pit bound in a matter of laps. It's not going to be this one. Running laps near the 26-second bracket. Rusty Wallace looking to get back by Bobby Allison. There's Kyle Petty right behind him, a lap traffic car. Elliott now was nearing 1 second behind the leader. Now he's back almost 2. Lap traffic has not been a favorite to Bill Elliott. 3 wide for second. Some lappers. It's 82 Mark Stahl and the 8 of Bobby Hillin Jr. Barry Gant right in front of as Rusty Wallace brings the painted Pontiac car number 27 Kodiak into pit lane. Going to be the first one in. The rest of the field's going to need to pit. If not, Rusty Wallace will become the first driver with multiple wins this season. Wallace's pit side. Davey Allison and Moore continue to go round. It's like the 19 there. Derek Cope. Not going ahead. I thought he might have been headed pit side. Rusty Wallace is off of pit lane. So Rusty Wallace is out. We'll look at car 27. 15th place now, a lap down. The rest of the leaders will have to pit in about 10 laps. We look at Bill Elliott, caught behind the 15 of Ricky Rudd. There's the 6. That's a fan favorite, Connie Saylor, the Kroger car. Shop your local Kroger. Use your Kroger fuel points for 10 cents off a gallon or more per gallon. Kroger, your grocery store location. Davey Allison leads by 2.8 over Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott, we get by Ricky Rudd. Gonna have a few lap cars in between him and the race leader. Looks like the 26 of Shepard. 33rd place car, Derek Cope. 2.5 back, Elliott off of Allison. Nobody Nobody else has pitted yet other than Rusty. See how this continues to play out. 29 to go. 30 to go. Coming to 29 to go. Dale Earnhardt gets by Kyle Petty for 12th. Earnhardt still the third car to be 1 lap down. Shepard is in the prime spot. It's fine for the 35 machine. Benny Parsons. 17th, 1 lap down. Good recovery for Benny. Still has a pit stop to do. Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty continue to do battle. Davey Allison still leads by about 2.5 over Bill Elliott. Coming to 25 to go. Intensity is going to start ramping up. Bill Elliott, I believe there's some clear traffic in between him. Looks like, not quite. Shepard still. 33rd place car, Derek Coe. Bill Elliott, there's a 52 at Jimmy Means. Bill Elliott 2.2 back. Start to try to reel in your race leader. Buddy Baker in danger of going a lap down. He's in 9th. More cars. Davey Allison can put a lap down before he pits. Harder it's going to be for Rusty Wallace to cycle back out into the lead. Coming here to 25 to go. 120 laps since he last pitted, so Davey Allison should be close. 122 for Bobby. Those are the longest cars out pitting. Davey's going to go another lap. Bill Elliott's going to go another lap. Bobby Allison's going to go another lap. Schrader's held his own in P4. Gil Yarborough up to P5. He's kind of been another one to quietly make a run. Waltrip 6. Bonnet, Bodine, Buddy Baker, Shepard. Steve Wallace. It's by league speed. He's going to have to get by Dale Earnhardt for 12. Keep moving up the -1 lap ladders. Allison there, the 55 of Bill Parsons. Allison's looking to blast by him on the outside. Cleared him yet. Well, Elliott stays out another lap. So does Bobby, Cale, Earl Waltrip. He's going to stay out. Richard Petty and Benny Parsons do battle for 16th. Benny Parsons has had a solid day rallying back. Was basically last place at one point. Wallace gets by Earnhardt on fresh tires. Not surprising there. In lap 124 of the stint. Davey, Bill, Bobby, Schrader, Gil Yarborough. Davey Allison not going to pit. Bill Elliott going to stay out as long as possible. Bobby Allison still staying out. Schrader's looking to stay out. Yarborough's looking to stay out. Waltrip, top 5. I think DW's going to head pit side. Darrell Waltrip's going to be one of the first leaders to make that left-hand turn. We'll see how that cycles out for him. Davey Allison going to go around another lap. Bill Elliott's going to dip. He's going to bring Bobby Allison. It's a 15 of Ricky Rudd, a lap traffic car, or a lap car, if you will. So Allison now, I'd expect I don't think he's going to pit this lap from the looks of it. I think Schrader is. Schrader dipped really low out of 2. Allison's going to stay out. Here comes Schrader. Let's see what he decides. Schrader's going to make the left-hand turn. Yarborough's going to stay out. Neil Bonnet, he's kind of low down the backstretch. I think Bonnet's going to pull it in. Get Bonnet's headed in. So Davey Allison, he's going to go as long as possible, which I don't. Here he comes. 127 laps of a stint. Schrader's in pit road. That's going to leave Yarborough out. Harry Gantz completed a pit stop. Dale Earnhardt. So it's Kyle Petty. Yarborough. Jeff Bodine's off pit lane. So Allison's in. Buddy Baker, in theory, is going to start to come around. Schrader's out of pit lane. Maybe Allison, Buddy Baker scored the leader now. Shepard in second. Allison is headed out in the 28. Allison, Bill Elliott. Wallace is P3. Right behind Shepard and Buddy Baker lead. Those guys have not pitted yet. Davey Allison is out. He's about 3 seconds behind Wallace. Lake Speed has not pitted yet from 5th. Hoping for a caution. Bill Elliott gets by Bobby Allison. Richard Petty's going to get by Parsons. I think Parsons is in the pits. So is... Buddy Baker leads over Rusty Wallace. Still some cars to pit. Buddy Baker's going to have to pit. Morgan Shepard's going to have to pit. Baker heads into pit. So does Kowicki. Shepard's going to make a left-hand turn. This is going to put the lead into Rusty Wallace's hands now in the 27. Lake Speed has pitted. Bill Elliott got by Morgan Shepard there. Bill Elliott's up to 3rd. Davey Allison only a second off the race leader, Rusty Wallace. So Allison managed to time this perfectly. He's got way fresher tires than Rusty. He's already pulled off about 3/10, now 4. Charging Buffalo is Davey Allison. Looking to trample Rusty Wallace there. That Kodiak Bear is being hunted by the 28 of Davey Allison. Big game hunter Davey Allison looking to catch him a bear here today at Richmond. 62 is Steve Crispin. Almost held up Davey, but not going to be a factor. Davey Allison, you can see your leaders there. You can see the speed difference. 23 lap tires versus 5 lap old tires. Rusty's tires have came in and got hot. Davey Allison got enough heat on his. There's bumper to bumper. Allison looking to make a pass for the lead. Off into turn 1. Davey makes the dive bomb. Outbreaks him, outruns him. They're going to put another lap. They're going to pass Petty here. Petty off the pit road. Already Davey made the pass. He's already almost out to a half a second lead over Rusty Wallace. 3.3 seconds back is Bill Elliott battling with Bobby Allison. Ken Schrader about 6 seconds behind them. Schrader having a solid day, still in the top 5, but has fallen out of win contention unless a miracle caution decides to happen. Everybody pretty much pitting. Ron Bouchard out here being a crazy man. Running 16th, hasn't pitted yet. Neither has Donnie Allison. As I say that, announcer's curse is going to bring him in. Bouchard looks slow here out of 2. He picks up a little bit of pace. Bet Bouchard's going to make the left-hander. What the heck? Bouchard not going to make the turn. So we'll go back to the race. Up front, Davey Allison almost out by 2 seconds already over Rusty Wallace. Wallace did not have the tires to do it. Coming to 8 to go here for your race leader, Davey Allison. Got the 81 and the 31, the 81 of Chet Phillip and 31 of Jim Sauter right ahead of him. Not going to be a factor though. Rusty Wallace is definitely out of this. Bill Elliott, Bobby Allison though continue to battle for third. Try to reel in Rusty Wallace. I think they will. Only about a second behind Rusty. See them all in the same picture. Dale Earnhardt. Heartbreak for him through pit cycle. He has fallen back solidly still in 11th though for the Intimidator. Greg Sachs, Ron Bouchard completing pit stops. Davey Allison out by 2.8 seconds. Less than half a second though between Rusty Wallace, Allison, and Elliott. So Wallace is going to be under attack here in just a moment. Coming to 5 to go for your race leader, Davey Allison. Got the 82 Mark Stahl. There's a 57 Jody Ridley. Richard Petty's got some of the freshest tires. He's looking to the inside of the leader. Bill Elliott gets by Rusty Wallace. Bobby Allison's there in that picture too. Earnhardt, Kowicki on the left. Jim Sauter. Second place, Bill Elliott though. Third place is Rusty Wallace. Wallace now going to be under attack from Bobby Allison. Going to look to have a pair of Allisons on the podium. Might even run 1-2. As Davey leads it with 4 to go. Bill Elliott second. Bobby Allison looking to get around the outside of the 81 there. Chet Phillip. Chet Phillip has not pitted yet. Might make it, probably going to make it to the end, some of these guys towards the back. Connie Saylor, Chet Phillip, they could go about 133 laps, and they last pitted about 119 there for Saylor, 122. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out for them. So Bill Elliott's pace is falling. He's lost a couple tenths. Coming to 2 to go. 2 flags wrapped up in the hands of the flagman, pointing 2 popsicle sticks in the air, as we like to say. Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, Bobby Allison. As Bobby Allison gets by Bill Elliott, I didn't think that would happen, but lap traffic has been a factor. Connie Saylor there on the outside, 3 wide for Allison there in the middle. Saylor's going to go wide and high. Elliott's going to get forced kind of wide and high there. So we're going to have a pair of Allisons coming to took the white flag here is Davey Allison looking to get his first win of the season. Into 3. Davey Allison, class of the day here. Took them all to school. Miller High Life 400 victory will go to Davey Allison over fellow Allison. Bobby Allison in P2. Bill Elliott third. Rusty Wallace fourth. Ken Schrader here in the Red Baron car rounds out P5. Keel Yarborough 6th. Neil Bonnet's coming to 7th. Darrell Waltrip 8th. Jeff Bodine 9th. Buddy Baker rounds out the top 10. Dale Earnhardt ends up 11th. Harry Gant 12th. Morgan Shepherd 13th. Kyle Petty 14th. 15th Lake Speed. 16th Benny Parson. Good recovery of a day for him. 17th Richard Petty. 18th Alan Wicki. 19th Ernie Irvin. 20th Bobby Hillman Jr. 21st Dave Marcus. 22nd Ron Bouchard. 23rd Terry Labonte. 24th Michael Waltrip. 25th Donnie Allison. 26th Ricky Rudd, as we have a cluster of a pile up on pit road. Ricky Rudd 26th, 27th Phil Parsons, 28th Rick Wilson, 28th Dale Jarrett, or 28th Rick Wilson, 29th Dale Jarrett. Greg Sachs 30th, McDuffie 31st, Jody Ridley 32nd, 33rd Jimmy Means, 34th Brett Bodine, 35th Derek Cope, Ronnie Thomas 36th, 37th goes to the 67 Buddy Arrington, Jim Sauter, Steve Chrisman, Rodney Combs in 40th, Mark Stahl 41st, Chet Phillip and Connie Saylor, the fan favorite, rounds out the field. So Davey Allison over fellow Allison, Bobby and Bill Elliott round out the podium. Rusty Walrus P4 with Ken Schrader, a solid P5 effort here today. So definitely interesting to say the least. As because Rusty Wallace thinks he won the damn event and he's doing God knows what. Same thing with Dale Earnhardt, finally makes it to the pits. Ernie Irvan has left the building. So Rusty Wallace getting lost on his way to the pit lane, but good race overall, caution free yet again. So I am going to continue to play with the AI skill to try to make some interesting things happen and see what happens. So so far, no repeat winners. Davey Allison gets his first win of the season. Dale Earnhardt 11th, last week's winner, the Daytona 500 champion P4. So Rusty Wallace continues to be a very consistently dominant car. So it's Cody GTV. Going to sign off here. Appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's any type of race you'd like me to recreate. Put that in the comments. I'll try to start doing some special events and things. So appreciate y'all for watching. Catch you on the next one.